The morning air was fragrant with the scent of blooming jasmine as I approached the bamboo grove. Monastery. Disciples were seated in a semicircle, their eager faces turned toward the Buddha. Ananda, the youngest disciple, broke the silence with a trembling voice. Master, how can I love without suffering? Buddha smiled kindly, his face calm as a still lake. Love is both a treasure and a burden, my child. The delicate petals glistened with dew, catching the soft sunlight filtering through the trees. He gazed at the flower with profound stillness before addressing us. This lotus blooms here now, he said, his voice clear and calm. But it belongs neither to this place nor to me. His words hung in the air like a melody, gentle yet piercing. I leaned forward, drawn into his presence. One disciple raised his hand timidly and spoke. Master, how can something so beautiful not belong to us who cherish it? The Buddha turned his gaze to the disciple, his eyes deep and kind, as though he saw into the man's heart. Loving something does not grant ownership, the Buddha replied. The flower thrives because it is free, not because it is held. His fingers traced the curve of the flower as though tracing the cycle of life itself. He continued, if you grasp this lotus too tightly, its petals will bruise, and it will perish before its time. His words resonated like a stream flowing over smooth stones. I found myself drawn into the rhythm of his wisdom. The disciple looked down at his hands, seemingly ashamed, and asked, but how do we truly cherish what we love without holding it tightly? The Buddha turned to the group, his gaze sweeping over us all, inviting reflection. The act of cherishing does not reside in possession, he said. Cherishing is born in the freedom to let things be. He placed the flower gently on the ground, as if setting it free, and folded his hands in his lap. I felt a stirring within me, as though a veil had lifted. Yet I needed more clarity. Master, I began hesitantly. What if we wish to protect what we love? Is that not a form of holding on? The Buddha turned to me, a faint smile gracing his lips, and answered, protection is born of compassion, not possession. You may shield a flower from the wind, but you cannot stop its petals from falling. He gestured toward the grove, where countless flowers blossomed, each unique yet transient. To protect is to care for the present moment, knowing it will change. This is love free of attachment. His words settled over me like sunlight breaking through clouds. I began to understand that love did not require chains. Yet, another question stirred within me, refusing to let go. Master, what of relationships between people? How can love exist without the desire to hold on to one another? The Buddha closed his eyes briefly, then opened them with an infinite tenderness. To love another is to recognize their freedom, he said. It is to walk beside them without dictating their steps. His voice was soft, like a breeze whispering through the leaves. Yet it carried the weight of mountains. If you hold them tightly, he continued, you rob them of their path and yourself of your peace. Love flourishes where freedom dwells. His words illuminated a truth I had not dared to fully confront before. Another disciple, sitting close to the Buddha, leaned forward. But Master, he said, what if freedom leads to distance? How do we endure the pain of separation? The question echoed in the grove, charged with the energy of unspoken fears. The Buddha reached for the flower he had set down earlier, now slightly wilted yet still beautiful. Separation is part of existence, he said. The flower parts from its stem, the river from its source. Yet life flows on. He turned to the disciple and added, the pain of separation arises not from love but from attachment. Release the desire to possess, and love will remain unbroken. His words carried a profound clarity, a lightness that began to untangle the knots in my mind. I watched the Buddha place the wilted flower at the base of the tree, a gesture of reverence for its journey. The sight moved me deeply. Yet another question formed, stubborn and insistent. Compassion flourishes from understanding oneself, fostered within solitude's reflective silence. Without solitude, Buddha said, connections remain superficial, devoid of depth born from inner harmony and self-awareness shared outwardly. It is an act of understanding. Understand the nature of impermanence, and the heart will find its peace. He drew a circle in the soil with his finger, a symbol of continuity. When you let go, you do not lose love. You lose the illusion of control, he said. Love continues. Like this circle, without beginning or end. His words struck me with the force of truth, and I felt my resistance begin to crumble. Love, I realized, was not confined by the walls we build around it. It was expansive, boundless, and utterly free. Master, thank you for sharing this truth. It feels less daunting now. Master, I said finally, my voice steady yet filled with emotion. How can we carry this lesson forward, into our lives and the lives of others? The Buddha smiled, a gentle curve that seemed to hold the universe within it. By living it, he said simply, be the example of love without ownership, and others will see its truth. Let your actions, not your words, teach the path of freedom and compassion. This is how the lotus blooms in every heart. I bowed deeply, my forehead touching the cool earth, and whispered my gratitude. The streets bustled with activity. Carts creaked, and merchants called out, their voices rising above the laughter of children. Amidst the lively commotion, the Buddha's gaze fell upon an elderly weaver spinning threads into cloth with unwavering patience. The Buddha stood, his robes flowing like a river, and began to walk away. The disciples followed in silence, their hearts full of the lesson shared. I lingered for a moment, my eyes on the wilted flower beneath the tree. It seemed more beautiful to me now than when it was fresh, for it carried the essence of the Buddha's teaching. As I left the grove, I knew that the journey of understanding had only just begun. Love, I realized, was not in the holding but in the giving, the freeing, the being. The grove fell silent once more, the flowers swaying gently in the breeze, as though bowing in reverence. The lesson lingered in the air, a silent hymn to the art of loving without owning. Another day, another journey through the forest paths, the rustling leaves guiding us like whispers of nature's wisdom. The disciples walked beside the Buddha, each carrying their thoughts like quiet flames. By the riverbank, we paused, drawn to its tranquil beauty. The Buddha sat upon a smooth rock, his robes brushing against the earth as he gazed at the flowing river. A disciple named Ananda, troubled and restless, approached the Buddha with hesitation. He bowed low before speaking, his voice tinged with sorrow. Master, the teachings you shared weigh heavily on my heart, Ananda said. I try to love without attachment, but I struggle. The Buddha gestured for Ananda to sit beside him, his expression calm and inviting. Ananda, sit and observe the river, the Buddha said, his voice steady. What do you see flowing before you? Ananda looked at the water, its surface glimmering in the sunlight, and answered, Master, the river flows without end, carrying both light and shadows. The Buddha nodded, his gaze unwavering. The river flows freely, bound by nothing, carrying all it encounters. Can you love as the river loves? Ananda tilted his head, confusion clouding his face. Master, I do not understand. How can love flow like water? The Buddha reached down, gathering wet sand in his open palm, and held it out to Ananda. Watch closely, he instructed. The grains rested lightly in his hand, shimmering under the sun's warmth. The sand stays when the hand is open, with slow deliberation. The Buddha clenched his fist, and the grains began to slip away, falling back into the river. And now, he said, releasing the last grains from his grasp, when I try to hold it tightly, it escapes. Ananda watched the sand scatter, realization dawning like the first light of day. Master, are you saying that love, like the sand, is lost when we hold too tightly? The Buddha nodded softly, his voice gentle as rain on thirsty soil. Love thrives when it is unbound, like the river, like the sand resting freely in an open palm, he explained. Clinging to love as possession leads to loss, and pain follows where attachment dwells. The words resonated deeply within Ananda's heart. But Master, Ananda asked, his voice filled with vulnerability, what if letting go feels like losing love itself? How can we endure the emptiness? The Buddha's expression grew tender, and he pointed to the river's endless flow. Love is not lost when it flows freely. It continues, transforming into new forms, like the river shaping the land. The disciples nearby watched the exchange, each absorbed in the unfolding wisdom. The wind carried the Buddha's voice gently through the grove. Love is not an object, Ananda. It is a force that exists beyond the grasp of hands or hearts. But Master, Ananda persisted. What of family? My love for my sister is strong, yet her choices bring me pain. How do I let go? The Buddha placed a hand on Ananda's shoulder, his touch grounding yet light, like a guiding star. To love your sister is to respect her path, the Buddha said. Her journey is hers alone, not yours to mold. His words carried the weight of truth, stripping away the illusions of control that often cloud the mind. Offer her compassion, not resistance. Pain arises from the desire to change what is beyond your reach. Ananda lowered his gaze, the struggle within him visible in his posture. Master, my heart feels heavy with sorrow. How do I let this pain flow like the river? The Buddha leaned down, tracing a spiral in the soil beside him. Pain is like this spiral, he said. It begins in the center, small and confined, but it grows outward, seeking release. He drew a line from the spiral's edge to the river, connecting it to the flowing water. Follow the path of release. Let pain move like the river, not circle endlessly within. The sunlight caught the ripples on the water's surface, and I found myself absorbed in its endless dance. Another disciple spoke from nearby, her voice quivering slightly. Master, if love must flow, how do we trust it will return to us? The Buddha reached for a leaf drifting in the river, lifting it gently from the current. This leaf travels far from its tree, yet it is never lost, he said. Love returns in ways unknown, like the leaf returning to the soil that birthed it. He handed the leaf to the disciple, who bowed deeply, gratitude shining in her eyes. The Buddha's teachings moved through us like the wind, invisible yet unmistakable in its presence. The silence that followed was rich with reflection. Ananda stood, bowing once more before addressing the Buddha with newfound clarity. Master, I will strive to love as the river flows, unbound and free. Thank you for your guidance. The Buddha smiled, the simple curve of his lips radiating warmth. As the day turned to evening, the disciples began to gather their belongings, preparing to move onward. I lingered by the riverbank, watching the water carve its path through stone and soil. The lesson of the sand and the river stayed with me. Love, I realized, was not contained within walls or chains, but lived in the act of flowing, giving, and releasing. The Buddha's teachings carried me forward, like the river that never ceases to find its way. Another day, another lesson unfolded beneath the shade of a grand fig tree, its roots entwined with the earth's essence. The Buddha sat in serene meditation, his presence radiating calm that softened even the most restless hearts. The disciples gathered around, their eyes reflecting both curiosity and reverence. Kema, a thoughtful disciple, stepped forward and bowed deeply before the Buddha. Her voice quivered as she began. Master, today I spoke with a woman overwhelmed by pain. Her love for her son brings her immense suffering. The Buddha opened his eyes slowly, his gaze resting on Kima with infinite compassion. "Tell me, Kima," he said softly, "what is the nature of this woman's suffering? Is it her love that causes her pain?" Kima hesitated, searching for the right words, then replied, "Master, she loves her son deeply, but he rejects her kindness. She feels lost and broken." The Buddha inclined his head, his expression thoughtful yet calm. "Her pain does not stem from love," he said, "but from her expectations of it." His words seemed to ripple through the air, like the gentle rustling of leaves stirred by a hidden breeze. Another disciple spoke up, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "Master, how can love exist without expectation? Is it not natural to desire love in return?" The Buddha's eyes swept over the group, his gaze steady and patient. "Expectation binds love to conditions," he said. "True love is unconditional, like the sun offering light without asking for gratitude." He gestured toward the fig tree above them, its branches sheltering all who sat beneath. "Does the tree withhold shade from those who rest under it?" he asked. "No," he continued, answering his own question, "because the tree gives freely, without seeking reward." Kima knelt closer, her brow furrowed with the weight of her thoughts. "Master," she asked, "how can the woman find peace if her love remains unaccepted? Will her suffering not persist?" The Buddha reached for a small mirror lying among the offerings and held it up for all to see. "Look at this mirror," he said, his voice gentle yet purposeful. "What is its purpose?" The disciples glanced at one another, their expressions curious. Before Kima answered, "To reflect, Master. A mirror shows us our own image." The Buddha nodded and continued, "Love must be like this mirror. It reflects kindness, truth, and compassion without holding the image within." He set the mirror down gently, as though returning it to its natural state. The woman's love must reflect her own heart, free of the need for her son's acceptance. A disciple sitting nearby raised his hand and spoke, "But Master, if her son never sees her love, will it not be wasted?" The Buddha turned to him, his expression serene yet unwavering. "Love is never wasted," he said. "It flows into the world like water, nourishing all it touches." He gestured toward a stream winding through the grove, its gentle current sparkling in the sunlight. "The stream does not demand the land drink from it," he explained. "It flows because that is its nature, not because of expectation." Kima's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she whispered, "Master, will her son ever see her love and accept it?" The Buddha's gaze softened further, his voice like a lullaby for weary souls. "That is not for her to control," he said. "The reflection is always there, waiting for the heart to see it." He placed a hand on the ground, feeling the cool earth beneath his palm. "The seed does not demand the rain," he said. "It waits patiently, knowing the rain will come in its time." His words were a balm, soothing the ache of uncertainty within us all. Kima bowed her head, her hands pressed together in gratitude. "Thank you, Master," she said. "I will carry your teachings to her and guide her toward peace." The Buddha smiled, a gesture of both encouragement and quiet joy. "Carry them also in your own heart," he said, "for wisdom is strengthened by living it." The disciples sat in silence, the weight of the teachings settling over them like the embrace of dusk. The grove seemed to breathe with us, the trees swaying gently as if to affirm the wisdom shared. I watched the Buddha rise, his movements fluid and purposeful, like water finding its path. As he walked away, the disciples followed, their hearts fuller than when the day began. I lingered beneath the fig tree, the mirror's reflection still vivid in my mind. I understood then that love was not diminished by rejection but strengthened by its freedom to exist unconditionally. The grove grew quiet as evening fell, the lessons of the day etched into the fabric of existence. Love, I realized, was not a chain or a demand but a reflection of the infinite compassion within us all. The Buddha replied, "Falsehood vanishes under scrutiny. Truth endures, unaltered by doubt." He looked to the moon, its light constant despite shadows below. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.